Okay, so I wanted to start this here brunch thing off with a brief note on college football because I know that this is a college football channel and you will suffer with all the other stuff that I want to do with my family and my friends. But I did think it was interesting to bring up Oklahoma, Texas, the SEC, all of them for the most part got a problem because we're talking about college football perhaps not starting on time, right? So all of the things that you have to take into account to start college football on time, notably preseason practice, getting folks to the stadium, having 80,000 people in one venue is really hard to imagine at this particular juncture, no matter how badly we want it to happen. But there's a couple of things on the docket here. First is a shortened college football season, right? Which I don't think anybody wants, but let's entertain that for just a second. What that would probably look like is that you dispense with your non-conference games. That would mean there's no OU Tennessee, there's no LSU or Texas, there is no Ohio State, Oregon, no North Dakota State, Oregon, none of these games that I have circled on the calendar for quite literally years, like many of you. Now, on the flip side, 2021, we're supposed to get Nebraska and Oklahoma, and I'm super stoked for that. But the context for which we could get that game is also on hold. Because if we have a shortened season, and let's say that OU's traditional, 12-game schedule is shortened to perhaps 10, right? Or even 9, because the Big 12 only has 10 teams in it. That would leave like zero margin for error for OU or Texas if they want to make the college football playoff for the simple fact. They play like literally 4 less games than the SEC. All right? The SEC benefits for once from having 14 teams in the league. And you know what? Nobody gives a damn about the SEC's non-conference schedule, save for the one opponent that they actually play that is worth a damn, right? For every Alabama USC game that we were looking forward to, you have an Alabama New Mexico State. I submit to you, where is New Mexico State? Nobody knows where New Mexico State is. It's trash. They just had a grad transfer to UTSA. What are we doing with that game on the schedule except making everybody upset and making everybody mad that Alabama won't go out and play anybody? In the words of some of the callers that make Paul Feinbaum's show go, ain't play nobody, Paul. And I get it, right? Because that's always been what's said about OU and Texas in the Big 12. It does not measure up to the SEC. Let alone, nobody picks on Ohio State and how nobody in that conference can hold a candle to what the Buckeyes are doing. Be like, Michigan's a 2-loss team. To who? To the rest of the Big 10? Okay, cool. You got a really nice pelt of Notre Dame. But who is Notre Dame except a team that shows up in the college football playoff and gets sunned? Just like Oklahoma, right? Texas, this was supposed to be a defining year for Tom Herman. Now we're talking about if you have 2 losses, you might not even make a bowl game if we have to shorten the bowl season from, say, the traditional 40 that we see in around Christmas to, say, 20. That means that you could be one of these teams looking on the outs if you got 2 losses, let alone 3 losses. You could have an OU season that sees 9 games, and let's say they lose 3 games, they go 6-3, you're not making a bowl game. Or maybe you are based on how you travel, right? And you don't want to be at the mercy of how you travel because there ain't no Belk Bowl for you to fall into. And you know what? The Belk Bowl probably wouldn't even make the cut in a shortened college football season, right? We're talking about, at most, perhaps getting 10 games in, and that's if you play for a national championship. To say nothing of Clemson, like if North Carolina proves to be the best team that we have seen play this game in some time in the ACC, perhaps they could knock off a Clemson. Who would want to see Clemson in a college football playoff with 1 loss to North Carolina? I submit to you, no one. None of us. 0. This year, if you had a shortened college football season, the emphasis would be on undefeated. Who went undefeated? We're not going to have any of this rigmarole where we see, hey, look, they had the 1 loss, and you know what? Their 1 loss is better than their best win. We're not going to see any of that. If anything, it's going to level the field for the Power 5. Now, Group of 5, kiss it goodbye, right? You're talking about maybe 1 team in that New Year's Six Bowl, and that's the one that goes undefeated. And if that's Central Florida, great. If it is Memphis, great. If it's Boise State, awesome. But the likelihood of those teams actually making some noise this year is 0. And you know who needs college football more than any other institutions? The ones outside the Power 5. If you do not have college football, it's not just your athletic program that risks going under, it is your universities. Football is responsible for so much money. ESPN paid $600 million for the rights to the college football playoff. That's just the playoff. The NCAA was supposed to distribute $600 million this year to 350 member institutions, right? In 2017, the Buckeyes, among others in the Big Ten, cashed checks for over $30 million. Last year, the Big 12 cashed checks for around $36 million. The SEC is running a game, giving $40 million a pop, but that's in a regular season, right? That's in a season where we don't have the virus, okay? Where we ain't on the Rona. If we actually had to go through with a short season, I would submit to you that most people would want to push it back to the spring so you can get all 12 games in. You get all 12 games in, you risk not a whole lot, except perhaps maybe some more Gatorade. Need some more Gatorade mix, to say nothing of how you're going to practice in this heat. Because I'm here for a college football playoff national championship that takes place in May, but I'm not going to act like it wouldn't be harder to do, especially knowing that you're going to have to pick right back up and go right back into the season 2 months later. There would be no off season. The recruiting calendar would be walk. And I actually enjoy this because, again, I'm a fan of forced ingenuity and forced innovation. I really love it. I believe that you get your best and most inventive solutions out of such problems. But I'm also the kind of guy that's had to build this from the bottom. And I know how to make this work. Wasn't that long ago that I had my phone up here on a friggin' step mill talking to you. And now you're actually watching a national sports talk radio show with people in their bedrooms. Never mind us doing that 3 years ago, right? Never mind I had to figure out how to make this work. That I had to get the whole family involved in to try to lift this thing up off the ground. Now you're going to see who's spoiled, who's privileged, who thinks that there's nothing that they aren't doing. People are lying to you. Now you get to find out who. But do you care? Right? Do you want to get the Rona done with? Or do you want to have a second wave of Rona where you got to drop a college football season and everybody go back into quarantine? I don't. I don't. And we all know that I love college football. I love sports. Nobody misses more than I do. And yet and still, find a way. We'll make it work. That's what we do. Or is that not America? Because I want to find out. I want to know if you're more intense on your independence or on getting it right, getting it done, showing some work ethic. Because you can't have both. For once, everybody got to suffer. And some of y'all don't suffer as well as others. Some of y'all don't know what suffering is and you're about to figure it out. Some of you actually going to have to just do what you've been doing. And you're going to look down the street and you're going to say, ooh, cool, I'm on the same page with that dude. That's how these group of 5 schools are going to look at it. As soon as they get to play football, guess who's coming for everybody's skull? Give me Appalachian State, right? Give me the Clemson boys that ain't supposed to be there. Because the coddled among you ain't going to be around for it. But that's football, right? Isn't that what we're supposed to be wanting? Everybody to have an equal playing field? Now you're going to get what you want. We're going to see how bad you want it. All right, cool. That's enough college football.